Gadabita
Bhavadvida Bhagavatas
Bhavadvida Bhagavatas
Tirtha Bhuta Svayam Vibho
Tirtha Bhuta Svayam Vibho
Tirti Kuvanti Tirtani
Tirti Kurvanti Tirtani
Santasena Gadavrita
Santakstena Gadabrita
Bhavadvida Bhagavatas
Bhavadvida Bhagavatas
Bhuta Swayam Vibho
Tirtha Bhuta Svayam Vibho
Kuvanti Tirtani
Tirti Kurvanti Tirtani
Swantastena Gadabrita
Santasena Gadabrita. I'll just go on to the translation, if you don't mind. My Lord, so this is Yudhisthira speaking to Vidura. My Lord, devotees like your good self are verily holy places personified, because you carry the personality of Godhead within your heart. You turn all places into places of pilgrimage. Here, purport by Srila Prabhupada. The personality of Godhead is omnipresent by his diverse potencies everywhere. Just as the power of electricity is distributed everywhere within space. Did they get away okay, the ladies? They caught their Uber car?
Yes,
It came, okay, good. Similarly, the Lord's omnipresence is perceived and manifested by his unalloyed devotees like Vidura, just as electricity is manifested in an electric bulb. A pure devotee like Vidura always feels the presence of the Lord everywhere. He sees everything in the potency of the Lord, and the Lord in everything. The holy places all over the earth are meant for purifying the polluted consciousness of the human being by an atmosphere surcharged with the presence of the Lord's unalloyed devotees. If anyone visits a holy place, he must search out the pure devotees residing in such holy places, take lessons from them, try to apply such instructions in practical life, and thus gradually prepare oneself for the ultimate salvation, going back to Godhead. To go to some holy place of pilgrimage does not mean only to take a bath in the Ganges or Yamuna, or to visit the temples situated in those places. One should also find representatives of Vidura, who have no desire in life save and except to serve the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The Personality of Godhead is always with such pure devotees because of their unalloyed service, which is without any tinge of fruitive action or utopian speculation. They are in the actual service of the Lord, specifically by the process of hearing and chanting. The pure devotees hear from the authorities and chant, sing, and write of the glories of the Lord. Mahamuni Vyasadeva heard them from Narada, and then he chanted them in writing. Shukadeva Goswami studied them from his father, and he described them to Parikshit. That is the way of Srimad Bhagavatam. So, by their actions, the pure devotees of the Lord can render any place into a place of pilgrimage, and the holy places are worth the name only on their account. Such pure devotees are able to rectify the polluted atmosphere of any place. And what to speak of a holy place rendered unholy by the questionable actions of interested persons, that means materially kind of self-motivated with their own agendas, of interested persons who try to adopt a professional life at the cost of the reputation of a holy place. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. So when you go to New York next time, don't just think the goal is to bathe in the Hudson River. Or to visit the tall building, what's it? The Empire State Building.
Times Square.
Science something. You have to associate with the saintly persons there. And, of course, there are devotees, wonderful devotees in New York. And wonderful places of pilgrimage. Practically the whole of New York is transformed in one sense. We may not see it like that, but when you go to a place like 2nd Avenue, 26 2nd Avenue, which is still with Srila Prabhupada's movement, the devotees are preaching from there. Renting, still renting? We never purchased.
Renting the place.
Still never purchased.
Renovating it right now.
Renovating?
To make it look as close as possible to what it was.
Very nice.
They put a tin roof up.
Tin roof?
Yeah, when it was first rented in 1966,
Yeah.
it had this sort of tin metal type of
Ceiling?
decorative
Ceiling?
roof. That's,
Like a ceiling, huh?
It's like 1920 style.
Yeah, something ancient. So they're redoing. What about Prabhupada's apartment? Any chance of getting that?
There are chances.
Always chances. No specific endeavor in that direction.
Not active. Yet.
But it's there.
Strategizing.
Ah. But anyway, the bird thing in Bath is still there in the back garden?
No.
Taken away, huh? I went there once, it was still there a long time ago. I've been there many times, I can't remember last
I'm
time.
not sure, there may be something. The yard is there.
The yard is still there. I was there a few years ago, but I can't remember the bird bath. But years and years ago, I remember seeing that bird bath. Anyway, Prabhupada we can see the result of this, how from those simple, humble beginnings, how this movement has spread throughout the whole world inconceivably. No one could have imagined back in 1965-66 when Srila Prabhupada was in New York that such a Hare Krishna explosion, as Hare Griva writes a fascinating book, would have taken place, huh? From those simple, humble little beginnings. In 2nd Avenue, the first official ISKCON center, and a few wonderful devotees who came there unknown to the world, unknown to themselves, what was actually coming ahead of them, as ambassadors, Srila Prabhupada's ambassador there in America, and then empowering others to do likewise all over the world eventually. Incredible events. And how that place is indeed like a holy place of pilgrimage, isn't it? Tompkins Square Park, Washington Square Park, the other places Prabhupada stayed in New York, they're all Bowery, the Bowery. You can feel it. You go there, you just feel like you're really in a tirtha. It's not just a park or an old building. You feel you're in a tirtha. It's been transformed by the presence of Lord's pure devotee. And all the service is rendered there. Haribol. I don't think the Paragon bookshop is, or whatever it was, is still there. But even that, some of the first devotees were hooked out of that, let's say, hippie haven. It also has a ring of sanctity to it. It's amazing. It's what to speak, Paragon bookshop or whatever it was. And then you go uptown, New York, uptown, the office where Prabhupada stayed, and Dr. Mishra's yoga studio and apartment. You go along, what's it called, Riverside Drive or something? You can feel it. You can feel the energy. It's still there. It really is like a place of pilgrimage. Or here in Paris, you visit, maybe you visited Rue Le Suyer on the 50th anniversary recently. The building's used for some other reasons, but you can feel Prabhupada's energy there. It's powerful. Why go there otherwise? It's just one of hundreds and thousands of similar buildings in Paris. But it's not. You go to London, you go to Bury Place, 7 Bury Place. Many of you have seen it from the outside. Extraordinary atmosphere. Even just looking at the building, you can feel something, it's like a vibration which never goes away. It's incredible. It's a dentist clinic now. Dental. Well, even still, you can feel it's transcendental because Prabhupada was there many times. And devotees for years, more than a decade, worshipping Radha Londonishwar there. Powerful, and it still looks the same, when I look at it, where he was making incense, where we would stay, where we do this and that. It's still a holy place. Manor, so many places, all over ISKCON are still there. New Mayapur being the only one remaining where devotees are still occupying in Europe. Other than England's not part of Europe. Brexit, get rid of them. It's the only place in Europe, New Mayapur, which is a place where Prabhupada actually, which is still, being used in Prabhupada's direct service, you could say. Obviously, there are other places he went, which are also very special. In Hamburg, Amsterdam, in Rome, in Geneva, and in France, Paris also, of course. And a few other places, maybe. In Germany, Schloss Rettershof, and here and there. And obviously, in between all the places he went, the airports, the roads, the walks in the morning to the parks, and the this and the that. It just evokes this spiritual consciousness just to go there. It's like Tompkins Square Park, isn't it? Tree is still there.
Yes.
Tree is still there. There's a sign on the Hare Krishna tree, and there's a plaque on the side. They've changed the whole thing a little bit, of course, over the years, but the plaque is there explaining why this is a special place. International Society of Krishna Consciousness, founded by, and so on. Very special. Most of the buildings, the church, you see the church in the back when they took the spire off. Last time I inquired, it was a warehouse. I don't know what it is now. It became a warehouse. So, you have to bear that in mind when you're trying to get your dimensions of where Prabhupada was standing. And you're going to see that building spire. You go by the spire, you won't see the spire. It's not there anymore. It's flat. But you can still work it out, exactly which angle Prabhupada was standing and speaking to the, it's like Jesus, was it, speaking to the masses or something, Incredible atmosphere. You just can't help. You have to be pretty stone-hearted not to feel that. Of course, the public are stone-hearted, but still they get some benefit. But for devotees, it's like incredible, isn't it? I mean, you must go there quite often. You are a New Yorker, aren't you? You from New York?
Upstate New York.
Upstate New York, just on the outskirts.
There's a devotee that distributes very nice prasadam 3 times a week there.
Oh, wonderful. In Tompkins Square Park, fantastic. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Anyway, we're going to go a little bit to today's event. We mentioned a bit in the beginning, but now we'll go a little bit more into that, which is such a significant event in our movement. So 18th September, it was a Saturday, 1965. So that is the equivalent of today on our Vaishnava calendar. We discussed it a little bit in New Mayapur, or wherever we were last time, I can't remember where it was, on the actual Gregorian date. But this is the official Vaishnava date today. Prabhupada says, today is the 37th day of our journey. That means our journey out of Calcutta. Prabhupada left Calcutta on August the 13th, Friday of all days, Friday, August the 13th, which is usually considered unlucky. But it was unlucky for the karmis, for the materialists, in one sense. The beginning of the end of their, illusion to try to imitate God. They're just about to be smashed. Yeah. So, well, the beginning of that anyway. Still at the beginning, tip of the iceberg practically. 18th of Saturday. Today is the 37th day of our journey, and at 4 p.m. we left Boston Port to New York. In the morning I had telephonic talks with Gopal P. Agarwal in Butler. As you know, Gopal was Prabhupada's sponsor. You know, when Prabhupada was desiring to fulfill his Guru Maharaj's directive to preach in the Western world, Krishna consciousness with the Western English language particularly, Prabhupada really, there was no sign of any way that he was going to be able to do this. He was poverty-stricken, he had no association in terms of an organization, he had nothing in America or Europe or anywhere to, indicate that there's any way he could go. He had no passport, he had nothing. He was an unknown person practically, hardly anyone had heard of him. Few members of the Gaudiya Math, 1965, early. Yes, he was a sannyasi living in Vrindavan like many others, doing some writing, and few people, of course. He published his first 3 volumes of the Bhagavatam, but it wasn't like it was widespread particularly, and he was just another sadhu in most people's eyes. But of course there were a few who recognized his special, unique position, but very few. But he had this life mission. He never forgot his spiritual master's instruction for a moment. He was always meditating on that instruction. That was his life and soul. Is the secret of spiritual life is to make the instruction of the spiritual master one with one's heart. It means we make it our life's mission, our goal of life, as Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur explains. The instruction of my spiritual master is my sadhana as well as my sadhya. It is all that matters to me. I go to heaven or hell, doesn't matter. All that matters to me is the instruction of my spiritual master. And that was Prabhupada's mood, which he imposed or imparted upon his followers, those who were sincere, to this very day. Devotees to this very day, whatever it is, 40, how many years? 50 years almost now. Almost 50 years later. Their whole life is just to try to continue the mission of Srila Prabhupada. Even they never met him. They're 3rd generation, if you want to put numbers to it. And they're still making that their life's mission, to fulfill. We can never fulfill it, but we go into that mood of, to fulfill the mission of Srila Prabhupada, mission of the Acharyas of Srila Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Prabhupada met him in his Agra. He stayed. Prabhupada says he stayed in the house of this Mr. Agarwal for a few days. And Mr. Agarwal, he probably wasn't even thinking about, started talking about his family members. Then he mentioned, oh boy, I had a son who's gone to America and he got married to an American girl. He wasn't very inspired by it. His son, a nice Indian boy, went there to study engineering and ended up marrying an American girl, Sally. Her name was Sally. You ever met Sally? No? Quite an interesting lady, to say the least. A very special lady, to say the least. Probably more than her husband, to be honest. She was much more devotional than her husband. He was pious, but he couldn't quite get it, Anyway, so he started talking about his son, and Prabhupada caught on, your son's in America? Why don't you ask him to sponsor me to go to America? And Mr. Agarwal in Agra was a pious man. It was kind of, typical kind of Krishna conscious in some ways. Okay, he'd done it before, I'll do it again. He did it to some other sadhus who never went. So he wrote to his son, and that was the end of that. Prabhupada never thought anything would come of it, These things happen, right? You go on Sankirtan, someone says to you, oh, I'll come back later, I'll get the book later. You ever heard that?
Yeah.
Once in a while it happens, but 99% of the time they don't come back. It's just a polite way of saying no thank you, But you kind of get used to that. But once in a while they do. Well, this was one of those once in a whiles. And sure enough, 3 months later, Prabhupada was not he was in Delhi. Prabhupada was spending most of his time in Delhi, if you really study the situation. Over a period of years, practically more than he was in Vrindavan. He was busy in Delhi doing this, or in Bombay getting this, and Gorakhpur, going here, there, and everywhere for his Bhagavatam. That was his life and soul. He saw this, as you read yesterday in Markandeya Bhagavat Dharma, how the Srimad Bhagavatam is the actual understanding of Srimad Bhagavatam is the solution for all the problems. It's the solution. If we understand, Prabhupada's praying, please give them the understanding that they may understand this Srimad Bhagavatam, because this is the, you could say, the cause, in one sense, of their deliverance from this world of birth and death. Being able to understand Srimad Bhagavatam. So, the Prabhupada was outstation. When he came back, there was a letter for him. And it was a letter giving him a sponsorship letter, and giving him, basically the green light now to go ahead and apply to go to America. So getting out of India in those days was not an easy task, to say the least. Unless you had, government business or some economic business, or you were some novel big person, whatever. But it wasn't for ordinary people. Not at all. Especially you had no money. And it was a private person. Generally, private persons were not eligible to really sponsor an ordinary Indian person to go to America. An institution maybe, organization, company, but not a private person. So you have to get this P form. What is a P form? It's a special form from the Bank of India giving permission to go. Because usually when Indians go to America or other countries, they try to work it out so they don't come back. Someone or other get. Even today we see this as a common feature. We sponsor some young Indian gentleman from Bangladesh or Bengal or something to go to the West. They stay a few years, and in America particularly, it's not so easy in Europe. But in America, after some time, then they try to get their, what are they called? Green card, yeah? Something like. As soon as they get their green card, you don't see them again. They try to get married to a young American girl. They're off somewhere doing some business and whatever it may be. Most of the time that happens. This motivation, this illusory mentality of, when Prabhupada arrived, you can see it in his Markandeya Bhagavat Dharma, you must have some reason for my coming, otherwise why have you brought me to this hellish place? He described America as a hellish place. We think it's heaven, materially speaking. Maybe people are changing their minds now, but they used to think like that. Huh? England, the streets are paved with gold. They're paved with bums lying on the street and garbage. But they think that they're paved with... You'll have this dream-like idea, I can be happy. But, a hellish place, hellish place. So, he got his passport. That wasn't a major task. He had no money, but somehow they got his passport together. And they had to get this P form, which is very difficult. The State Bank of India refused him point blank. No! You're being sponsored by an individual. We can't do this. And you've got no credit in this country. You've got no organization backing you. You've got nothing in America. You're old. I can't give you this permission to leave India and go to America. And Prabhupada was a fighter, wasn't he? He was a fighter. He wasn't, I'm really sorry, Thank you I tried, but sorry I couldn't do it. No. He was a fighter. He didn't take no for an answer. Just like with Mumbai, Jew. Prabhupada didn't take no for an answer. He fought to the death for that property. So he fought. He went to the state bank and he demanded to see the manager of the state bank, a big guy, No, normally that doesn't. He just sat there. He wouldn't budge an inch. He wouldn't move until he got his. And he said. Then eventually he said, how can you do this? How can you stop this? How can you say no to this? He just kept on and on and on. And the man kind of like, And he had his father, he picked up his father. Okay, Swamiji, I approve. And so he got his P form to leave to India for America. Then he had no money and no means of going. No means of going. We'll read about that in a minute. So he made a phone call to Mr. Agarwal, Gopal Agarwal in Butler, he was shocked when he heard the Swami was coming. He got a letter from his dad or something. He said, the Swami is arriving on such and such a date. Oh my God, there was a picture of Swami in there. And Sadi said, oh my God, he's coming, because Prabhupada, this sanya. So darling, he's coming. Oh no, oh my God. It's like, they didn't expect him ever to come, Agarwal's, but he came. And now he's arriving shortly in New York. What are we going to do? So then Prabhupada was in Boston and he phoned up our Mr. Agarwal, Gopal, and he said that this man, I had telephonic talks with Gopal Agarwal in Butler, and he said that his man will receive Prabhupada at New York and dispatch me to Butler by bus or train as convenient. I tried to contact Dr. Mishra, so Prabhupada already had his contact before he went, but he was not available both yesterday and today. I do not know if he is coming to receive me. Today I met two American nice gentlemen, Mr. Gardner and Fryer. We passed a beautiful canal and crossed underneath two overbridges, but at midnight there was considerable fog disturbance and the ship moved very slowly. The fog persisted till we reached late at New York port at 12:30 on the 19th of the 9th, 65. So, wonder how Prabhupada knew it was foggy at midnight. Most of us would be fast asleep. We assume that Prabhupada was up. Whatever, writing, preaching, reading, translating, whatever. That was Prabhupada's life, 24/7. Here's a little excerpt from a room conversation with Srila Prabhupada in Bombay on November the 7th, 1970. Srila Prabhupada said, so I went in USA without any sponsor. No, that is, one gentleman sponsored for 1 month. 1 month only. Not even 1 month. I remained there only 3 weeks. He was 3 weeks in Butler, that's what it means. And then I chalked out my plan. He was my friend's son, and my friend wrote in that you sponsored Swamiji for 1 month. Guessed, some American gentleman, Prabhupada, no Indian, one gentleman from Agra, and Prabhupada tells that story we've already said. Passport visa. So there was no money, Prabhupada said, with me, and in awkward position. My philosophy is completely different. I was to ask them to cease 4 kinds of sinful activity. And they are habituated to these things. Of course, in France they don't do these things, do they? Illicit sex, gambling, no, intoxications, meat eating. They're all vegans here, aren't they? Huh? Pure souls. It's about all they do in Paris, isn't it? It's the life and soul. It's when Prabhupada was in Paris, he kind of noticed that this is a place for sense gratification. 80-year-old men going into Moulin Rouge and all these places down there. Prabhupada saw them, old men, going into these nightclubs, these strip clubs and things. Incredible, they never. Paris, what to do. Everywhere in the world this is going on. Huh? People have no idea of anything more, practically speaking. So I was thinking, I have to stop this. Who will hear me? Who will hear me in this place? I think it was in Atlanta in 74, and Bhaktisiddhanta Maharaj's Dhirubhava, something Prabhupada was saying that. As soon as I say no illicit sex, no gambling, no meat eating, and no intoxication, they will tell me, Swamiji, go home. Go home. He didn't. Prabhupada said this several times. He never expected the people to be able to change their habits. If someone other can get them to chant or maybe sell a few books, at least something will be there. He never expected it. I mean, of course, he's saying like this, what was going on in his heart, but he was in this mood. It's only by Krishna's grace if this is going to happen. I don't know how this is going to happen. So, but I wanted to see Chief Controller, what is called foreign exchange, Mr. Rao. So anyway, that's the story we just heard about just now. May I ask one thing, the guest said, why you chose this America to be your first? Prabhupada said, my Guru Maharaj ordered me, you go and preach this cult among the English-speaking public, and especially in the Western countries. First of all, I thought of London. Where is London? But I had no money. So I got the opportunity for going USA, free, on a trade ship by Scindia Steam Navigation. They gave me their first-class cabinet in English is okay. I'm saying you keep your clothes or something. Cabin, first-class cabin. The proprietor's cabinet. I was well carried. But first of all, I went free on a steamship. I had no money, what to speak of aeroplane. So what was your question? Excuse me. All right, Prabhupada said, we can see either go to London or New York. New York is better placed than London. Good quote here. New York is, Prabhupada says, New York is better placed than London. Prabhupada said Paris is better than London. In one case. This is from a room conversation in 1976. Prabhupada, so I did not say anything seriously. I think we've really covered that. We don't need to go through that again. Prabhupada, then when he arrived in America, he said, so I was extending. The immigration officer came in Boston in my boat. He inquired about this. So he asked me, Sir, Swamiji, how long you want to stay? So I thought that I have no shelter. I have no money. But I have got the return ticket, so I did not know how long. I am Prabhupada laughing. He asked me, how long you want to stay? So I thought, in these circumstances, I can stay at most 2 months. Because I have no means where to stay, how to eat, where shall I go? So I may struggle for 2 months. So I told him, I may stay at most 2 months. He immediately, 2 months, sanctioned immediately. I could not think that I should be able to. Prabhupada laughed. In other words, do what he did, stay longer, preach, make a movement, and so on. That 1 month, we're there sponsoring. So I thought, another 1 month, that's all. That this gentleman has sponsored 1 month. So that is guaranteed. Then I can stay another month, that's all. So after that, so I was staying here and there without any fixity. So I was extending visa. Each time I was paying $10. Another 3 months, like that. And then, of course, after some time they said no. And Rai Ram, who was one of Prabhupada's first disciples there, Ray Morris, he arranged some lawyer together with, what's his name? Ginsberg, as Prabhupada would say, Ginsberg. I don't know if he did it purposely or not, but it kind of has something in common with his habits. To get some immigration lawyer or something and they were charging like $150 a month or something at that time. And eventually that also stopped and Prabhupada went to Montreal, but eventually getting a green card or something, was a green card he got, wasn't it, to come back into America, or some resident card or something. But it was a real struggle. Prabhupada was completely alone when he arrived. I mean, absolutely alone in terms of external. Nobody. I mean, he was appealing in New York when he was alone there. Of course, at first he went and stayed with Dr. Mishra, and he got a little office place there somewhere near Dr. Mishra's studio. And then he got the invitation after that robbery. He got the invitation by one of those early Harvey Cohen. Harvey Cohen later became Harry Das, who went to he was the first one to go to San Francisco, and he invited Mukunda over. Harvey Cohen, and he was one of the ones at that Paragon, who was, inviting other people. There's a whole thing going on. Then he had a friend. He invited him to the Brooklyn and to Bowery. Probably went to the Bowery. Staying there in the loft. If ever you've seen the building, it's a pretty dour looking building, isn't it? Kind of like flat, it's like these old kind of New York buildings. Up on in the attic, not even on the attic. I was staying there, no lights, and it's like up and down, bums and all over the place. Prabhupada was staying there at that time, trying to present Krishna consciousness, trying to sell his Bhagavatams. Everything was based at that time basically on Srila Prabhupada's Bhagavatam. Selling it, you get a little bit of money. Every day in his diary he's writing, today delivered some books to this place and that place. And anyway, he was struggling like anything. He started his Sunday Love Feast. Actually, he writes, he said, he started the first Sunday Love Feast in Brooklyn. In the Bowery. That was the first one in the Bowery. The people there were coming, they not much philosophy, they couldn't understand much what to speak of Bhagavatam. Just chant and prasadam. Philosophy later, Prabhupada said. But he was trying to, Prabhupada one time he said that, actually, I didn't take the Bhagavatam to America. The Bhagavatam took me. I went along with the Bhagavatam. We sometimes think I'm doing it, that we're not the doer. Prabhupada's mood was so totally dependent upon Krishna, totally. So we'll just finish now by singing Markine Bhagavat Dharma. You went through the translation yesterday, I think?
We did say, yeah, we did, but you can do it.
Time is short. So let's see, here we go. If you can find it, or you've got it in the songbooks also, if you have the songbook, you can go into the songbook. It is there in the beginning of the songbook. Now, I would do a whole presentation here on Prabhupada's arrival in Boston, but our time doesn't allow, and we probably covered it yesterday anyway. And collected all these pictures and stuff. And you ever been there on that day, Boston Harbor,
yes.
On the anniversary of Prabhupada's arrival?
We go out on the boat.
On the boat. I've got a picture of the boat here that we go on. Well, every year it's a different one. We rent the boat and we put, Jaladuta on the back, and hundreds of devotees all on this boat. We're going around Boston Harbor and go to the Commonwealth Pier, doing arti there at the Commonwealth Pier, and Pushpanjali and Guru Puja, and talk about Prabhupada and feast, and then usually it's on Hemp Day. Usually, I've been there twice for this, and both times it was Hemp Day, annual Hemp Day in Boston. Hemp is usually related to cannabis or marijuana. It doesn't have to be, but it's the same family. So they call it Hemp Day instead of Marijuana Day. In Boston Common, which is also another holy place, in Boston Common, hundreds of thousands of students. There's millions of students in Boston. Millions. It's probably got the highest student population in the world per city, probably. Or big universities all around the city. And that's the day when the freshers, that means when they're coming, they're just arriving for their, studies in Boston. They all go, hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of whatever. The whole park is covered in students. And loads of them are smoking dope, marijuana. And it's like, it's a free-for-all almost, And they do always, I don't know if they still do, the 2 times over there, we go from the boat on Harinam through Boston to the Common, and then Harinam in the park all day for the rest of the day, setting up book table. Last time I was there, we distributed 500 Bhagavad Gitas to the students. Not me alone, I mean the devotees altogether. Ram Roy was there. That was before he settled down in New York. The last time I was there, actually, was the year Yeah, it must have been the year that Indra left his body, because Ramoy just came to America and he was really struggling with it all. And he was in Boston, but he was leading the kirtan there at that event. And the devotees had set up all the book table. It was phenomenal. It was like, wow, it was like a dream preaching program. Everything was so wonderful. People dancing and buying Bhagavad Gitas, and it was great. Again, who would have dreamed of this happening in 1965? Who in Boston, hellish place. Okay, we'll sing this amazing, most amazing. We'll try to. I mean, we can't do anything. We'll try. You didn't bring my cartels, did we? Oh no, I hope they haven't been lost. We took them because we knew there was not going to be anyone there. I think they've gone.
I saw them yesterday evening behind the computer.
Behind the what?
Your computer.
On the table?
Yeah. Yes.
They're not in here? They're not in they're in here. You didn't look thoroughly, did you? Dear me, what type of temple present are you? Dear, can't even find a pair of cartels. Dear, dear, dear. Mystifying, isn't it? Huh? Here they are. Die! Dig. Search and ye shall find. Madunga? Mananda? Or way back here, one of them. Boston Harbor, September the 18th, 1965. Paro Kripa Kaile Krishna Parame Prati Paro Kripa Kaile Krishna Parame Prati Kilagia Nile Heta Koroe Egati Kilagia Nile Eta koro emegati Ache kichu kajatabama Yanumane Ache kichu Nahe keno ani bene ukastane Nahe keno ani bene ukastane Vajasnamo Kunera Sabaya Chana Vasudeva Kata Uchinahe He Prasana Vasudeva Kata Uchinahe prasana tabe jare tava kripa hoitki tabe jare tava kripa hoitki sakali sambhava tumi sikko tukhi sakali sambhava tumi sikko tukhi কিভাবে বোঝালে তারা বুঝেছে রাস্তা কিভাবে বোঝালে তারা বুঝেছে রাস্তা এটা কৃপা প্রভু করে নিজ বাসা এটা কৃপা প্রভু করে নিজ তোমার ছায়া সভা Maya Basha Tomara Kaya Sabha Maya Basha Tomara Chaya Nashamaya Para Asha Tomara Chaya Nashamaya Parasha Tatava Echa Aejadi Tadera Udar Tava Echa Aejadi Tadera Udar Bujibe Nishaya Tabe Kata Etomar Bujibe Nishaya Tabe Kata Etomar Bhagavate Kata Se Dava Avatar Bhagavate Kata Se Dava Avatar Giraya Kune Chari Kane Bar Hiraya Kune Chari Kane Bar Shindatam Sakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Shindatam Sakata Krishna Punya Shavana Kirtanaha Vidyantaksto Yabadrani Vidunoti suritsatam vidyantaksto jabadhani Vidunoti suritsatam anasta prayeshrabhareshu nityam bhagavata sevaya prayeshrabhareshu nityam bhagavata sevaya Bhagavate uttama shloke Bhaktir bhavati naistiki Bhagavate uttama shloke Bhaktir bhavati naistiki Yadarajas tamo bhavaham Kammalobhadayasya ye Yadarajas tamo bhavaham Kammalobhadayasya ye Chetai anavedam Stitam sate pasidati Chetai anavedam Stitam pasidati Evam prasana manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogataha Manaso Bhagavat Bhakti Yogataha Bhagavat Tattva Vijnanam Mukta Sangasya Jayate Tattva Vijnanam Vidyate Vidayagante Vidyante Sarva Sanshaya Vidyante Sarva Sanshaya Vidyante Chasakarane Drishtaivatmanishkare Chasakarane Drishtaivatmanishkare Rajastamo Hatetabe Paibenishtar Rajastamo Hatetabe Paibenishtar Hidaya Abadrasate Guchibe Tahan Hidaya Abadrasate Guchibe Tahan Kikore Puja Bhagata Aro Sechahe Kore Puja Bhagata Aro Sechahe Urami Ina kono Shakti nahi Urami Ina kono Shakti nahi Hatasha Ene cho prabhu Kata olibare Kata cha Ene cho prabhu Katha Olivare Yetoma Icha Prabhu Koro Ebare Yetoma Icha Prabhu Koro Ebare Akila la Jagat Guru Vachana Seyama Akila Jagat Guru Vachana Seyama Alankita Paribakamata Toma Alankita Paribakamata Tava kripa halle momon Katha shudabe Tava kripa halle momon Katha shudabe Shunyasa para shoka dukkha ke kuchibe Shunya sabara shoka dukkha Aniyacho jari prabhu Amare nachate Aniyacho jari prabhu Amare nachate Nachayo nachayo prabhu Nachayo se mate Nachayona Prabhu Kashtera Putali Jata Nachayo Semate Kashtera Putali Jata Nachayo Bhakti nai Veda nai Name Pugdaro Bhakti nai Veda nai Name Pugdaro Bhakti Vedanta Name Vesatak Koro Bhakti Vedanta Name Vedanta Koro Bhakti Vedanta Name Vedanta Koro
Bhakti Vedanta
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada. Go Premanandi, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Signed. What will be the last line? Oh Lord, I'm just like a puppet in your hands. So if you brought me here to dance, then make me dance. Make me dance, oh Lord. Make me dance as you like. I have no devotion, nor do I have any knowledge. But I have strong faith in the holy name of Krishna. I have been designated as Bhakti Vedanta. And now, if you like, you can fulfill the real purport of Bhakti Vedanta. Signed, the most unfortunate, insignificant beggar, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, on board the ship Jaladuta, Commonwealth Pier, Boston, Massachusetts, USA, dated 18th of September, 1965. It's interesting, our temple in Boston is, where is it? Who knows where it is? Our temple in Boston.
52 Commonwealth Avenue.
Commonwealth Avenue. Prabhupada arrived in Commonwealth Pier.
Oh, yes.
It's funny. There's so many, not by coincidence, many of these things happen, you know, there's some link is there, you know. Very space. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai.